All right, well, good afternoon, church family. Thank you for being here for our winter all-church gathering. This is a reminder that we try to do two of these every year as a touch base. There is absolute Q&A at the end. There's no way we can cover everything, but it is an opportunity for this one-on-one. These gatherings are important because they remind us that the church is not just something we attend. It's something we belong to and something we are building together with God. Now, over this past year, our focus together under the leadership of Pat and our leadership team has been capturing in that simple phrase, GET, which was grow, engage, and transparency. As a leadership team, as those that are working together, we wanted to grow, we wanted to engage, and of course, we wanted to work on transparency, and hopefully we were able to accomplish that in 2025. We challenge one another to grow in faith through groups and study, to engage in ministry and outreach, and to practice transparency. Staying informed, asking questions, praying for leadership, and moving forward together with trust. And I want to say that thank you, because so many of you have truly been getting it done. Your faithfulness, your service, and your generosity have made a real difference in the life of the church and in our community. As we begin this new year, I know it's not as new as it was, we believe God is inviting us to take that next step in our spiritual journey together. Our focus for this year will be rooted in Romans 12. And if you're not familiar with that passage, there's a lot of really good stuff and a lot of stuff that we try to emulate and we try to quote. It's that call to be living sacrifices, to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Maybe it sounds a little bit familiar now. And to live as one body with many members, each with different gifts, all essential to the mission. So we believe God is calling us to become a Romans 12 church, a church where people discover and use their gifts, a church where love is genuine and relationships are authentic, a church where we serve with humility and passion, and not with perfection, by the way, because if that's what you're looking for, we need to be looking for a different pastor, I think, but in a church where hope is practiced even in difficult seasons. So today is about celebration. It's about honesty, and it's about direction. We will celebrate what God has done in the past 6 months. We will share openly about challenges and transitions and talk about where God is leading us next. And again, if we shouldn't do anything in this time but to pray, then we are a success. So let us pray together. Gracious God, we do thank you for bringing us together today as your church. Thank you for your faithfulness of this congregation, for the ways you have worked in our lives over the past 6 months, and for the gifts you have given each of us to serve your kingdom. As we gather, guide our hearts and minds. Help us to celebrate your work, to speak honestly about our challenges, and to listen for your direction for the future. Transform us into a Romans 12 church, a body united in love, using our gifts with humility and living as your faithful people for the mission of making disciples of Jesus Christ. It's in your holy name we pray. Amen. Well, before I get started, I always like to start with gratitude. And one thing that I am incredibly thankful for is our staff and especially our leadership team. So staff have been working very hard, very diligent, especially in the midst of transition, which, let's be honest, has added stress to our team and to the workloads of many. So I just want to say thank you to our staff and all those who have stepped up during this ongoing time of transition and kind of figuring out things as we continue to, as one person says, to build the airplane while it's in the air. So I'm very appreciative of them. Also, I do want to remind, if you are part of our leadership team, would you please stand up just so that people can see? Not everybody's here, but if you're part of our leadership team, very good amount are here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, if you will you show our appreciation to our leadership team? Thank you. So we did have 2 new members transition onto the team. So Connie Clips, as I said, transitioned to the chair, but Pat Holfactor did stay on. And then Rebecca Ham came in as well. So Kathy Campbell, Sherry Davis, Rebecca Ham, Jeff Horn, Pat Holfactor, Connie Clips, Travis Miller, me, Kathy Smith and Margaret Trammell is your leadership team. If you ever forget that, we are continuing to develop our website and to make sure that we've got our picture. Actually, I think it's that picture in the bottom middle there. That's our leadership team. And we're continuing to put stuff on there. So if you ever are having concerns or you have questions, it doesn't always have to be me or Brandon. It can be staff members, and of course, it can be our leadership team. And if we can't find the answer right away, we will do our best to find that answer and to get back with you. So speaking of leadership team and staff, one of the biggest areas of change in the last year and a half, or that not only did you get a new senior pastor, but we have we've seen a lot of staffing change as well. We've had several transitions, and if we're putting it to number, if you don't include me, we've had about 6 staff members transition. And I want to say something very clearly here, that these were healthy transitions. It wasn't because of a toxic culture. It wasn't because of frustrations. It were healthy transitions. Many were retirements or natural season changes, and we are grateful for every person who has served this church family. Transitions are never easy. I always joke and say churches really love to hire, but man, we hate to fire. And none of these were fires, by the way. But they are often how God prepares us for what's next. So we're also making some exciting moves forward. So first, this is both exciting and a little bittersweet. This was the announcement that was made today. We are stepping into a new season as a sending church, one that supports leaders both here and beyond. Brandon will continue as a full-time assistant pastor, remaining his title. And he will be doing the work that he has been commissioned and asked to do. The biggest thing that changes is his ability on Sunday morning. He still wants to be present. He's still here. He's right here. He can jump in and talk at any time. But I'm just sharing on his behalf that he is still very present. And that is one thing that we as staff, and especially as Brandon and I want to say, that he's not going anywhere. He is living into this mission and vision that we have for Southport and what this can be to be a blessing to another congregation. So we are stepping into a new season as a sending church, one that supports leaders both here and beyond. Brandon will continue as a full-time pastor here at SUMC, but effective March 1st, he will also serve as a pastor at Maple Hill United Methodist Church. My apologies for our traditional service. I did not mention that it is Wanamaker. So Franklin Township area. So I think it's like maybe, Kelly, help me, is it like 2 miles, 3 miles away from the high school, Franklin Central? So it's not too far at all. It's actually, as a fun fact, it's a mile away from my house of where I live and my family. So just a fun fact there. So what he will be doing is primarily leading their Sunday morning worship. This means that his role on Sunday morning at SUMC will shift. Even with this change, Brandon will remain fully engaged and faithful in his ministry with us. So if with that, I know many of you had an opportunity to talk with him in between services, but we will have a Q&A, and we can talk through that as well if there's any concerns or questions about that. We are thrilled about this opportunity for Brandon's leadership growth and the way God may use this shared ministry to bless both congregations. And here at SUMC, it creates a chance for increased lay involvement in many ways. So there you go. That's one of our biggest announcements we had today. And then, by the way, why did we wait till today? It's because when we do these announcements, we try to make sure we mirror them with the other church so that both churches are hearing the news at the same time. All right, second, Michaela, as you may know, will be stepping into the role of church administrator as Mindy finishes her time with us this month. As a reminder, we will be celebrating Mindy on February 26th and March 1st during and after our worship services. This is a critically important role in the life of our church, and we are grateful for Michaela in her leaderships and gifts. So, Michaela, would you mind coming up and just maybe introducing yourselves and say any words that maybe you've prepared?
Hello, everyone. It looks like I've met most of you in this room, but if we have not met, my name is Michaela, and I've been at the front desk as your administrative assistant for the last 5 years, and now I'm excited to transition into the role of the church administrator. And also, I'd like to announce that we did have an individual accept the position very recently for the administrative assistant role. And not to be confusing, but her name is Kayla. So we have her name is Kayla Knuckles, so she'll begin training over the next several weeks. So pop in if you haven't met me and introduce yourself. I'd love to put a face to a name, and I look forward to working with you and serving alongside you. Thank you.
My name is Kathy Smith. I am the vice chair of the leadership team, helping out Connie. What I wanted to talk to you today about is the leadership team. Pastor William did introduce everyone, so again, if you have any questions, please come see all of us, any of us. The leadership team serves as the governing board of our church, providing oversight, guidance, and support for the life and mission of Southport United Methodist Church. They help ensure that the church's ministries, finances, property, and staff are managed faithfully and in alignment with our mission. This includes key responsibilities such as trusteeship, finance, staff parish relations, and visioning for growth and engagement. The leadership team helps the church operate smoothly, make wise decisions, and create the structures that allow all of us to live out our calling as disciples of Jesus Christ. We have created 2 new teams. One is a vision task force. It includes Pastor William, Becca, and myself. We have met once, meeting again in a couple weeks. The second team we've created is the leadership team structure task force, and it includes William, Sherry Davis, and Travis Miller. They receiving structure matters because it involves growth, clarity, and sustainability. So we have an invitation for prayer and engagement. So please pray for all of our leaders on the leadership team. If you're interested in joining the team in the future, please reach out to any of us. We'll be happy to answer any questions. And there will be a possibility of participation in future surveys as the leadership team dreams for the future.
Oh, good afternoon. All right. Since we last met in August, I have fully embraced my new position as hospitality and family coordinator. I love my job. I really do. I love the people, the mission, the chaos. I even love consistently smelling of coffee. It helps me remember that the ministry is really happening. There's really one thing that I do not love about this job. Would anybody like to guess? No, that could be dangerous. Don't guess. All right. It's, next slide, please. My profile picture. I'm sure that's not what you expected me to say. So today I need your help. Can everybody get out your phones? Okay. In honor of my favorite French student, on the count of 3, I need you to take my picture. Okay? 1, 2, 3. I'm just kidding. So you could email those to me at kelly@sumc.org if they're good. But since I know everybody has their phone, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take care of some business. But first, I need to backtrack to say thank you. To everyone that's greeted at the door, to everyone that's made coffee. I told you I get emotional when I'm tired. To everyone who set up, tore down, wiped tables, moved chairs, taught children, listened to middle schoolers' stories that never end. This isn't just helping, this is ministry. Hospitality isn't about coffee. It's about creating a space where someone who walks in unsure feels seen. Children ministry isn't about babysitting. It's planting seeds of faith that may shape somebody's entire life. Youth ministry isn't just games and snacks, even though it's a bonus. It's building relationships during years that can feel heavy, confusing, and hard. When someone walks through our doors for the first time, a decision is made within minutes if they're going to feel like home. And most of that has nothing to do with the sermon. It has to do with us. Our smiles, our eye contact, our "we're glad you're here today," that matters more than you can realize. But here's the honest part. I need more help. We need more help. Not because things are falling apart, but because we're growing. How cool is that? In the last few months, we've had at least 1 to 2 new families or visitors every Sunday. And growth is beautiful and awesome, but it requires more hands. If you've ever thought someone else is doing that, Someone probably is, but they're more than ready for a time of rest. If you've ever thought, I'm not qualified, let's remember that most of the people that God used were not qualified either. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to know everything. You just have to be willing. I love a good statistic. So I started doing some calculations. I guess I get that from Zach. Being a greeter takes roughly 30 minutes a week. 30 minutes once a week is 0.13% of your week. Ushers takes a little more time commitment, but we'll take baby steps. For those that are interested, it's 0.89% of your week. That's roughly, this isn't a weekly ask. With enough help in the rotation, we could get it to once a quarter or possibly twice a year. I really hope that you can tell that I'm coming from a place of love in saying all this. I've been struggling putting it together because I worry I might come across as pushy or mean. Anyone who knows me knows how hard it is for me to ask for help. Well, except for Zach, but I already have him teaching Sunday school, working at guest services, and sometimes cleaning the kitchen. This is probably my only other complaint about the job, is not being able to be at two places at once. But I digress. Okay, since you have your phones out, let's go ahead and scan that QR code. When you scan the QR code, you're going to come up with options of areas to serve. I hope and pray that you pray where God and ask where God might be calling you. Greeters, ushers, coffee setup and cleanup, youth and children's ministry, even if it's just a last-minute substitution. I welcome all the help that we can get. Please come find me if you have any questions. Remember, God doesn't just call the equipped, he equips the called. Together, we can create a space where God feels seen, welcome, and loved. Where all feel seen, welcome, and loved. And I think we can all agree that is worth being a part of. All right, now I'm going to switch my hat to children, youth, and family. Speaking of being part of something awesome, I wanted to take a moment to celebrate the incredible ways that we are already creating space for our children, our youth, and our families. Let's start with Imagination Station. One of the biggest blessings of my job is getting to see those kids walk through the doors during the week. Even the littlest ones that are learning to say hi and wave, that just keep saying it until you answer. Or to the oldest ones trying to convince their dads to race them out the door. That's always a fun one. Seeing these young families week after week is such a gift. Honestly, it's a ministry that can easily be overlooked during the week if you're not in the building. Our next place that we're offering space for our families is our first Family Friday night, which is always well attended. It's a good way to meet new people in the community and fellowship with our friends here. Small plug, on March the 6th, we're doing our Shamrock Shuffle. If any small groups are interested in taking that one over, I am looking for a host. So, last week, Joe and I bravely took 6 youth to the Winter Jam. It was my first time, probably not my last. It was fun. There's something very powerful about watching students worship alongside thousands of other believers. Church camp registration is open. If anybody is interested in church camp this year, the church does offer a pay part of that fee. And we are offering our youth high school senior scholarship this year, if you know any of high school seniors. It is truly a joy to be part of these ministries. I am so blessed to serve alongside this congregation and witness all the ways that God is working in and through us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. So everyone know that QR code that you scanned is in here, so you can always scan that later. I hope some of you did do that right away. But of course, extremely important, all those roles. Plenty of ways to serve in the church. An hour a week is absolutely amazing. If you can't do that much, that's not a problem. There's other options, like Kelly said. So thank you all for considering all that, and thank you all. I know you all already are serving in ways, so thank you for all that you already do. And of course, the children and youth, she started off with Imagination Station. Allison's not here today, so I should pick on her, but I won't. She's amazing. She's too good to pick on. We are absolutely blessed to have her here. Not only the work she does with Children's Church, but keep in mind this building is very busy during the week with a bunch of preschoolers and kids that are in childcare Monday through Friday. So next slide, going into that, knowing we have such a strength and imagination station, not only is it something valuable we offer to the community, it is a ministry by all means, but it really helps us financially too. It does bring in some income for the church that's very important. So it's amazing that we can add something else to that mix. This year we're going to start something called Camp Imagination. So this is kind of a trial for it. I've been trying to get Allison to do this for a few years now. And she finally said, you know what, I think we can do it this year. We've got the people. The underground isn't really used throughout the week. That's the basement in the east wing. It's used for youth on Sundays. AA uses it in the evening some. But during the day, when the children are here, when we need that childcare, it's not open, or it's open and available. So this summer, we're following Perry Township's schedule. I think it's an 8-week program. We're going to offer summer camp for kids that are off school for the summer. So don't quote me on the details here, but I think it's kids 2nd to 5th grade is who we can offer to. We can do up to 30 kids. This first year, that's probably not what we'll do, but we can grow up to 30 kids in this program. This is important for a couple reasons. Mainly, there's a need. Like, there's a big need for this. I know a lot of parents that make these calls and we're full. There's not a ton of these programs locally in our community. And the ones that are here, I'm not saying that they're not good or anything, but often it's a lot of kids. So having a little bit of a smaller, intimate program, I think will be a very good thing for Southport, a very good thing for Southport United Methodist Church. So keep an eye on that in ways that you might be able to support that in the future. And nothing else, I think that's something pretty exciting that we can do and be part of as a faith community. So on to small groups. We have them. I think that's Aiden there, right? Is that Aiden in front of that one? He's not even cracking a smile. I had to put the picture of you with no beard because we only got to see it for like 2 weeks. So there's Pastor William Sands' beard.
It took me a while.
I guess I should have set it up better, but we have lots of great small groups. If you're not familiar with them, there is a brochure out there. It's this one. The best way to talk about those small groups is word of mouth, like talking to other people, but there is a brochure that has all those offerings. There's groups that meet on Sundays throughout the week. A lot of them are very accountability groups. Some of them are focused on study. A lot of them have kind of a specialty. The two I'll highlight are that Disciple Fit, because it's a relatively new one that I think has been meaningful for the people in it. So great to see that pop up in the mix. And the other one is Fear Not, which is an anxiety support group that meets throughout the week. Again, a meaningful thing. And the reason I'm highlighting those isn't for any other reason other than they're newer groups. This brochure is full of really great groups led by really great people. So, and it's important that we all get involved in those groups, that we even know about those groups as a faith community so we can share with others, because that's how we really form that faith family. Coming to worship on Sunday is obviously very important, but having something else we do together is a very good thing. So thank you all who are part of those small groups. A huge thank you for those who lead those small groups. Another way that we do form community and focus on some other things together, we have that Connect, Grow, Serve, Give, Go stuff that we talk about every now and then, and hopefully even more so, a lot of the stuff that we do leans into it. But we grow together in our faith. So studying the Bible is a way we do that. Last year, we had 3 church-wide studies, and this year we're actually going to have 4 of them. So the first one's coming up. You heard about that one recently with the Exodus 40 chapters of Exodus, 40 days of Lent. So that's coming up right now. 2 ways to do that. There is going to be a study on Wednesdays where we gather together. That'll be a great piece of that. So we won't do that Ash Wednesday because we'll be worshiping together, but the week after that, we'll meet at 6:30 for that. Also pay attention online. There's going to be that Facebook group that's just started. It'll officially, you'll start seeing posts on there on Ash Wednesday. So if you haven't found that on Facebook yet, keep looking. You'll see more come out of it very, very quickly, very early this week. And then, of course, if you don't do the Facebook thing, that's okay. We will find a way to get those devotionals that are going to be on that group to you. It'll be a little bit behind, so you'll get them kind of a week after, but you'll still have access so you can make sure you see all that we put out there. Seed grants, I do want to talk about that just a little bit. We haven't touched on that much lately. If you remember, that was a program to help foster new opportunities in ministry we did last year. We had Hope, Help Our People Eat. That was a very successful use of that seed grant. Sharon, right here, say hi. Sharon led that for us, and she did an amazing job. It was a great idea, a way to feed more people. Something about us, we like to feed people, it seems. But we were able to partner with some of our Christmas Jubilee families, and 34 adults, 47 children that we were able to feed for 6 weeks through that program. That it was, of course, very valuable for them to get those. It also helped us build some connections there. Sharon's already told me we are planning on, because these seed grants are really to keep these ministries going, we are planning on doing Hope again this year, so look for ways in the future to serve through Hope. We are looking for ways to maybe expand that a little bit more to more people. So keep an eye out for that. There will be a next steps table soon. There will be more information about that. We are planning on offering seed grants this year. So if you have an idea for a ministry, something that would be valuable here at the church that either isn't here or isn't, of course, you can always come to us and talk about these ideas, but the seed grant's a little bit more of official kind of structure for that. So I don't have a time frame on that, but we will offer them again. We will kind of have applications available if anybody has ideas to submit for those. Do have a couple of the ones from last year. The process will be very similar this year. Just don't have the time frame on that. So keep an eye out for that. And I get to let Mindy talk for a little while.
It is amazing to see all of you today. And, I just wanted to put in my 2 cents a plug of thanks and gratitude to all of you. I was down in children's ministry today working with them, and we talked today about how God is bigger than any of our fears. And I know, Kelly just asked or shared some opportunities that perhaps, you haven't been a part of before. And, we're going to talk about a lot of our community events, and we have such amazing support from all of you. But, sometimes we have a little bit of fears about getting involved in something that we're not accustomed to. So what I had the kids to do today was write down their fears. We put them in little cups. And then we took little bouncy balls and we just threw balls at them, so conquering our fears. So this past year for community outreach, we stepped it up. I don't know if you noticed, but we went from having 1 community meal to having 3. So we did our pancake supper, which we're going to repeat again tomorrow. So I hope to see all of you there. We also added our taco meal. Oh, Tuesday. Sorry, I'm skipping Monday. Apologies. Come, we'll go out to dinner tomorrow. We also added our taco meal, which was extremely well attended. And then in November, we added a turkey dinner. And that turkey dinner, it was great. You're right. And, I stand at the door and I do a little counter, and my little counter said 350. And then they told me that, they delivered lots of meals, and a lot of people took meals to go, and they delivered them to people. We used well over 100 to-go containers. So, okay, so we're up to about 450. And then what was left, another ministry came and picked it up, and they served it the next day. So they served well over 100 people there. Your generosity, your blessings served so many people in our community and ensured that they had great meals. So we stepped it up that way. Another thing that we did last year, we stepped up, we did the parade. We worked with Imagination Station, we worked with all of you, and we worked with the parade. I mentioned the parade because in a few minutes I'm going to tell you that that was kind of a good kickoff for some work with the city, so with Southport. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But I also wanted to share some other things that we've done. You know, Kathy led some pop-up meals that we just passed out. So we had people driving through picking up meals. And we've just done so many things that we stepped up. And you may have noticed that the community outreach team put together the fall festival like typical. But if you came, you might have seen we stepped that up too. How did we do that? I want to talk to you about some wonderful partnerships we've developed. To start off, we had a Kids Zone. That Kids Zone was sponsored by our Imagination Station. Their teachers came to do the Kids Zone, and then they also had, some of them are in college, they brought some of their fellow students, and they've made that a project out there. So we also helped some college students with their projects through that. And then you may have seen a lot of teenagers. That was a step into a partnership with Southport High School. Southport High School has a Key Club that is based on volunteering. And they provided, for that one event, over 60 students to help us outreach to the community. So we had all of the wonderful people from Southport United Methodist Church that volunteered. We had our Kid Zone area that we had extra folks with, and then we had our high school students. And those high school students, I have never seen anybody work as hard as those high school students. They are wonderful. And they didn't just come for that event. They keep coming back. And they keep helping us. They helped with the turkey dinner. They're going to help with our pancake meal. And, you know, it's a two-way. They tell us that they feel very blessed too, and it gives them community service hours as well. So that is wonderful. So move forward, some of the things that we have coming is an Easter festival. So we'll have the Easter festival coming up. You'll see us out there in a week or two asking for support. We do need support to be able to serve the families that come. Last year, we served around 300 through the Easter festival. And we're getting pretty creative about how we can welcome and serve even more because our space is limited, but we think we've found some ways to do that. So we've got that coming up. And then move forward, we're going to continue our community meals this year, and we've got a fall festival coming again. And I put a pin in that city relationship. I've had some really good conversations with the city. I've attended 2 of their Parks Department meetings now. And we are talking about making our fall festival coincide with their fall festival, which has a little bit of a different thing. So they'll do their fall festival likely down at the park. We'll do our fall festival here. We'll work together to make this a community event at the same time. And then we're going to talk to the businesses along the route to see what can be opened up. So maybe there'll be an antique thing going on at the same time. We're going to make it a community-wide day. So they've still got to vote on it, but Kevin and I just went to their meeting last Thursday. They are super excited. Our neighbor that lives over here was at the meeting. She's super excited. And I can't even begin to tell you what this could mean for Southport. So we've got that coming up. There's much more to come. And I've got some people looking at their watches like I'm talking too long. But I just wanted to thank you all and let you know that there's more opportunities to serve.
Okay, finance and facilities. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next slide on this one. For 2025, we had some pretty good results for finance. Now, I know that net number there is a little in the red. So we have a little bit over $1 million budget as a whole. So this is church and Imagination Station combines budget. And expenses, we spent a little bit more than over $1 million combined to a net of negative $3,813. Now, I just want to give some perspective to that because to me at home, that's a pretty big number. But to here, let's pretend your wife sends you and tells you you need to go buy a new jacket. You got $100 to spend. So this is like spending $100.30. My wife would be okay with that. Now, if I spent $130, I'd be in trouble. So we just barely went over budget, a very small amount for our total budget. That's actually a really good thing. That's very good for us. That's where we need to be. Of course, that's where we strive to do. But one of the reasons that's such a good thing is that if you look over there in that other column, we only really were hoping, we spent about $20,000 more than we were really planning, a little bit, $24,000 more than we were really planning. Most of that is just things cost more. There are some other things in there too, but our income went up there too. So most of that was your giving. The vast majority of that, making up that difference, was your giving. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So from a budget standpoint, we're in a pretty good place going into 2026 is the main thing I want you to hear from that. You do have the details in the handouts to look at, everything from last year and how we're budgeted out for this year. Very similar structure to what we've done the last several years. But the part I really want to bring some attention to is what we call our designated fund accounts. So that's the next slide. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about here, anytime we talk about our finances overall, we're usually just talking about that budget piece. But a lot of times when we're talking about specific giving, we're talking about these designated funds. When we talk about that debt elimination program, what if that was designated funds? When we talk about Raise the Roof, designated funds. When we talk about a lot of the stuff we do with outreach and things like that, it is with Pastor's Ministry, which is a designated fund. So the core for everything we do is built in that budget, but a lot of the more specific expenses come from these designated funds. Now, again, you guys are pretty good at when we ask, we see funds coming in. But one of the big designated funds we haven't talked about for a while, and it's hard to see on the page there, and I've got it in green, is that Faith Promise Fund. So we've really focused on eliminating that debt, and with a lot of helping get the building where it needs to be. Important stuff needs to be done because we need all that to do the other stuff we do. But this Faith Promise Fund does a lot of the things that are, I'm going to say the hands and feet type stuff, right? So Family Promise of Indianapolis, we support them through this. We support Perry Township Religious Education through this fund. We support a group called the United States Chin Coalition, which just helps get aid to the Chin State over in Burma through this fund. We help the Hoosier Hill Emmaus community. Habitat for Humanity, that was this year we sent quite a bit of money with them. A lot of times we like to pair where our service goes with where funds go from this fund. So Habitat for Humanity, we were able to send a fair amount of money this year. One Mission Society, some more internal type stuff or stuff that is more close to home. When our kids go to summer camps, we pay 50% of their summer camp fees through this fund. The expenses for cross-training come from this fund. We do a program called God's Will Breakfast where we feed a bunch of people at Fletcher Place once a month. That comes from here. When we go to Ronald McDonald House, the cost for the food comes from here. Harvest table expenses, if we have those, they come from here. We've got a new program called Soups On. Roberts Park is doing where they feed people, and we're going down there. We went there last year, and we're doing it again this year. The money for the food for that comes out of here. That MLK Day of Service, a lot of that comes out of here. Now, you guys do a great job of supplementing a lot of that too. So some of the things, like the turkey meal, that was a huge thing, amazing thing. We fed a lot of people. It only cost like $200 out of pocket for the church because you guys supplemented so much. So thank you for making all that stuff happen. But this fund, Faith Promise, is what feeds a lot of these ministries and programmings financially. So last year, we spent about $40,000 on these types of things, which, great, good money spent. But we spent about $12,000 more than came in last year. So that means this fund is going down. And it's at a point where we may have to make some hard choices, right? Are we going to give to Perry Township Religious Education, or are we going to give to Habitat for Humanity? Those type of things. So we're not in and we've got a pretty good stream. A lot of people make it part of their regular giving. But if you're, this is one place to pay attention to. This is, I think, going to be a critical part of our finances for 2026 and into 2027, because a lot of the things that we have some passion about, that we really, I think, it's a good thing that we can do as a faith community, ways that we can bless others, are spurred around the giving to this fund. And some of our other designated funds. When we talk about outreach, almost all the stuff that Mindy just talked about, which absolutely amazing, absolutely we're stepping up on those things. Pastor's Ministry Fund is where a lot of that comes from. Budget does help with all that, but we supplement with some of these designated funds. And of course, the building is a big piece of that. The Raise the Roof, Covering the Future part of that. And again, you guys stepped up amazingly. I mean, the last handful of years, we've paid off a $1.3 million debt with above and beyond giving. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. We've put a new roof on all that red part of the building with above and beyond giving. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. So the next thing with that is that roof. We were kind of developed that program around a $330,000 ask. The expenses for that roof came in way under, which is good. And so there's another, I don't know if you've noticed, but we're missing something at our main entrance. Has anybody noticed that a little bit? Yeah. So because it's within the realm of what we were originally looking at for Raise the Roof total ask-wise, which is that $330,000 up front and around $50,000 annual commitment. And by the way, you guys have either given or committed $202,000 of that already, which more than paid for the roof. So thank you. Yeah. And $37,000 in annual pledges as well. So amazing. We've come a long way to that. But that next piece, which we can look at the picture here, is we've got some drawings already. It's coming up. So we're going to build that into the Raise the Roof programming. So we're still going to have that going on. And I think we absolutely can do it. But there's the picture, and that's what you can expect out there. So partly because you guys are so amazing at these things, and partly because some really good numbers on where that roof came out, and I'm assuming part of that was good negotiation, so thank you, Doug. We're going to build that into the Raise the Roof. So that's the next piece of the Raise the Roof and Covering the Future. But there is that Covering the Future part of this. So I did ask Doug just to get some lists in his head. He's going to tell us real quick some of the things we've done this year besides the roof, because there's lots of other things too. And then he's going to tell us some of the things that are next on the list type of situation that we really need to do next. And the reason I'm having to do that is so you know that all these things are critical for us to continue the mission and vision of the church. We all the mission, all the ministry that happens, this place helps fuel and push that from, and the people gather here to do those things. So we have to take care of our space, of course. Doug?
Okay, so I'll just quickly talk about a handful of completed items that you may or may not be aware of. First of all, and these are no particular order, but the automatic openers at the main entry there, we've got a new pedestal and new technology out there, so the batteries aren't wearing out and those doors actually work. So that was nicely done. You'll notice the cross up here has been reworked with LED lighting. It's dimmable now, so there's no additional fire danger by putting the scarves up there like we do typically. We've added automatic openers on both of the main restrooms. We've also, there's been a temperature problem in the restrooms for a while, if you haven't noticed. So we've recently relocated the thermostat in there, which has helped, and we're in the process of automating the exhaust fan system in there so that it's not on all the time, sucking all the heat out. So that's up and coming. We've also had a number of repairs. The worship center furnaces went down for a while. We had repairs there. Same thing with the music room furnace. The east wing boiler, which is the primary source of heat in that building, that failed along with one of the pumps that has been repaired. And of course, Brandon mentioned the flat roof repair. That is now complete. And we did a sidewalk repair as well out front. In terms of things that are coming up in the future here, we do have 2 air conditioning systems that are not working and that are going to have to be replaced, or we'll have to go just without them, which is essentially what we did last year. We've got some parking lot maintenance that needs to be done, crack filling and sealing and restriping potentially. I talked about that automation of the restroom exhausts. And we've got some gutters and paint repair that needs to be done. And then, of course, the canopy that we've got shown up there. So a lot of work. It's a big building. Got a lot of people that help out with these things. If you have any questions about that, let me know.
All right. Well, I know that was a lot, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that did participate today and to get the information from us. So, as promised, this is our Q&A. So we want to create space for questions because this is our church together. So, what questions might you have?
In regard to Brandon's new position,
Yeah.
can you speak to? If I understand correctly, you'll be at that church every Sunday, is that right?
That is correct.
I guess just a question would be, who would be assisting, Pastor William as needed?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. So they're just like with Maggie, her position that transitioned. We are looking at getting teams together for our discipleship process and other needs in her. She had a lot of hats. So same thing with Brandon. Brandon, the biggest escape that we will see is that you're going to, unfortunately, you're going to hear my voice more often. And also, we're going to need help with liturgists. So we have tapped, especially leadership team and specific others, to be able to step up and be liturgists. So if you're not familiar with that term, it's kind of the back and forth that Brandon and I do. So the pastoral prayer, the announcements, recording, things of that nature. So I'm always open to that if that's something that you're interested in, we can have a conversation about that. But yeah, that's going to take a little bit more work of cycling that through. Brandon does want to be involved as much and still have face, if you will, as much as he possibly can. So especially for those traditional services, as of right now, he's able to be in here. He's able to be, just help with the hospitality. And we're not sure about the transition time, but after that traditional service, I know we do have a lot of people that come late to our contemporary service. There's a good chance they would miss him in that, but it is his intention right now, right? Best intentions, not knowing what the needs are going to be of the congregation that he's going to be serving, to be as active and involved as much as he can on Thursdays and Sundays as well. we don't know exactly where this is going to go. And I know this is going to be public and everybody's going to share it. So there are some things that I just have to be careful. Like I can't promise you anything. I can't promise a satellite. I can't promise cooperative parish or any of these other models that maybe you see when one person is working with two churches. But right now, we have Maple Hill United Methodist Church that had a vacancy and they needed a pastor. Our district superintendent and their team knew of Brandon, and they reached out and said, "Is this something you'd be interested in?" I had conversations, and I said, "I would love for a cooperative parish. I would love for a satellite. I would love for something for us to be involved in this community." And the response was, let's love on this church first and see where it goes. So that's our call. Brandon's going to love on that congregation. He's going to be their pastor. He's going to be connected. I'm going to resource as much, but the reality of it is Brandon's their pastor, so I got to stay out of the way. I got to learn that one too. So Brandon's their pastor. He's going to be able to love on them, be intentional with them, and then if there is something where there's partnerships for Bible studies or outreach events or something, we'll cross those bridges as they come. But right now, Brandon's going to go preach and be their pastor. One question that you may have asked is, why are we doing a bigger and more kind of permanent awning than rather a, what was it, $30,000, $40,000 kind of canopy that we've had before? Maybe the numbers are wrong, but more of a temporary canopy. And the reason being is we're tired of doing this. We're tired of the canopies breaking down, getting hit, things of that nature. So if you remember the drawings, we do have barriers that will help with ramming. And if you haven't been to a parade lately or other things, there's now anti-ramming things that are being put into place, and we're being asked to do the same. So those little bars that come up in the front, those are anti-ramming things to help keep us in this congregation and community safe, especially our children that come through each and every day. And also with that permanent structure, realizing that it's the back of our church that's the main entrance, we also know that it will be upgraded with visuals as well. So that maybe in case that was a question, why aren't we just going to another canopy? Because we just think it's going to better serve us for the long haul, and it'll look pretty too. If you have any questions, we want to be available to you. So as I tell my staff, the best way to get a hold of me is call or text that's the quickest way that I can respond. I try to do an open door policy as much as I can, but the reality of it is sometimes there's just busy days. Okay. As we close, was there anything else before I close? Okay, we're ready for a real lunch. I get it. Okay. So as we close, I want to return to Romans 12. Paul reminds us not to conform to the patterns of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Church, transformation is happening here. Lives are being touched. People are growing in their faith. Ministry is expanding, and God is not finished with us. I truly believe that to every part of my soul. Our mission remains clear: to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. And the beautiful truth is that every single person here is a part of that mission. Thank you for your faithfulness, your generosity, and your willingness to be the church. Thank you for showing up, for stepping in, and for living out God's calling in your own unique ways. Let us pray. Gracious God, we do thank you for this congregation and for all the ways you have been at work among us. We ask for your Spirit to guide us as we move forward, giving us courage to serve, wisdom to lead, and hearts open to your mission. Help us to use the gifts you have given us, to love with humility, and to live with hope. Bless our leaders, our volunteers, and every person here, that together we may be faithful stewards of your work in this place. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And now may you go in peace and great joy. May you go in peace and great joy, knowing that our God goes with us and has great things in store for us. Go in peace in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And all God's people said, amen.